What's up, everybody? I'm Eddie. This is Nicole. And you're watching another brand new episode of the Puzzle Podcast. Very excited to be here on tonight. Very glad to be able to spend a little bit of time with you guys talking about some things that really don't matter in the grand scheme, but we want to talk about it anyway. We got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about Kylie Jenner and how she clapped back at some people for criticizing her for asking her followers to give to a GoFundMe page. We're going to talk about Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen's story that they put on their podcast about male roles and father figures in their lives. I just forgot just that fast what else we're going to be talking about today. We're also going to be talking about a headmaster who told a black kid to kneel as an apology to his teacher, doing so, quote unquote, the African way. We're also going to be talking about some good things that happened over the past couple of weeks in regards to GoFundMe pages that I'm really excited to be able to talk about. And so really excited today to be able to say, hey, what's going on with you? How you doing tonight? So again, I'm really excited to be talking about it. I hope you guys are excited about it as well. We're not necessarily working on anything puzzle-wise today, but speaking of, before we get started, you may have seen my post earlier today that we are currently actively seeking sponsorship. And so if you are a puzzle company of any kind, whether it's puzzles or puzzle equipment or whatever the case is, and you would like to be featured here, your products featured here, in any kind of way, please let us know. Please, DM me and let's see what we can do for you. We'd be more than happy to display your products here and be able to talk about how great we appreciate them and love them. So you guys want to sponsor this show, feel free to jump in and let us know. We'll try to see what we can work out. All right. The way that sounded. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get started with our first story of the night. We're going to be talking about Kylie Jenner. This story is the story that I'm pulling up is an update of the story that was given earlier in the week. Kylie Jenner has spoken out publicly following criticism of her support for a GoFundMe effort for makeup artists. Jenner recently shared an Instagram story seeking prayers for makeup artist Samuel Rauda and directing her 222 million followers to a GoFundMe started to help pay his medical bills. According to the GoFundMe, Rauda was in an accident and, quote, underwent major surgery on Sunday, 3/14/2021. No details about the accident were offered. Many on social media responded by asking why the reality star and makeup mogul, who has made the Forbes, quote, 60 richest self-made women list and appeared on the publication's cover, didn't just pay the bills herself. Jenner posted a statement Monday on her Instagram stories, writing, quote, I feel it's important for me to clear up this false narrative that I asked fans for money and am not paying for my makeup artist's medical bills. Sam isn't my makeup artist, and unfortunately we don't have a personal relationship anymore, but I have worked with him a few years ago and think he's the sweetest, the statement read. I saw my current makeup artist and friend Ariel post about Sam's accident and his family's GoFundMe, and I called Ariel immediately to see what happened to Sam. The initial GoFundMe goal was $10,000, at which time Jenner donated $5,000. A source close to Jenner earlier noted to CNN. An account under Jenner's name on GoFundMe shows a donation of $5,000. Jenner also addressed that in her statement, writing, quote, they had already raised $6,000, so I put in $5,000 to reach their original goal and thought I'd post on my stories to gain more awareness if anyone also felt compelled to share or donate. I don't know how all of this got so twisted, but his family has reached out through Ariel and are very appreciative of all the donations, prayers, and love towards Sam. Anyone that knows me knows that I do things from the heart and I try to be helpful whenever I can. Let's all stay positive and keep Sam, his family, and anyone who you know who is going through a difficult time in our prayers. You got it.
No, you said you were going first, remember?
No, I didn't say I was going first, but I will.
I was supposed to read, but you took over, so.
You were supposed to read this one. Why didn't you say something?
You were on a roll, boo.
You gotta stop me on these things. You gotta stop me on these things. Quality content says, why do you have to explain your own money? So she's going where I am about to go. However, I'm gonna take it and spin it, right? So
wait to hear this.
Earlier in our podcast, we had a conversation about Kim Kardashian and how she, posted on social media about the fact that she has this privileged lifestyle and went on this lavish vacation and figured, I'm going to post these pictures and I know that I live the privileged life and everybody knows that I do and I know blah, blah, blah. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna post what I post, and I know that people gonna feel some type of way about it, but it's all good. I'm still gonna live my life because I'm 40 years old. And in that podcast, we said something to the effect of, you gotta realize that people are gonna say what they're gonna say regardless of what you post. So you don't owe anybody an explanation for why you do what you do. Because whether you post or not post, or whether you explain or not explain, people are still gonna feel some type of way about what you do. It seems as though the Kardashians still keep falling in the same trap of trying to explain themselves after they get backlash from people, even though they are in the the social media game where they know that whatever they post, somebody's gonna have something to say. Now, Kylie Jenner, I'm glad that she did what she did. I'm glad that she, helped this person out. I'm glad that she made the post. I'm glad that she solicited her followers to try to help and all that stuff. But at the same time, as I've said many times before, if you're gonna go out of your way to go back and have to explain why you did what you did, then that says to me that you didn't do enough of your own self-awareness or self-consciousness or self-searching to realize that, people were going to say what they were going to say regardless of what you posted. Because now you feel like you're all in your feelings and you owe an explanation to people. Boo, you didn't owe an explanation to nobody. You posted because you cared about this man. You cared. He was a good person to you. In the years that y'all worked together, you saw a situation occur, you reached out, you helped, you posted, and that should have been the end of it. You didn't owe CNN, you didn't owe ABC, you didn't owe TMZ, you didn't owe us an explanation for why you did what you did or posted what you posted. And so for me, I ain't mad at her outside of just feeling like she had to explain herself. Instead, I'm mad at us. Because once again, we keep falling in this trap of, we want people to do right. We want celebrities to do right. But then when they do right, we get mad at them for doing right. Like enough is never enough. We get mad at them when they don't do anything. But then when they do something, what they do is not enough. Like they were saying, how come you didn't pay her bills? How come you didn't, you didn't pay the whole bills off? Why does that matter? Once again, here's a person who's trying to put something out there to show people, hey, I care, I got a heart, I'm human, this is my friend, I care about my friend, and yet everyone wants to sit around and crucify her for doing what she did. And again, it could have been anybody that she had posted about. But again, the fact that she felt like she had to go out of her way is indicative of how toxic we as a people have become, where it don't matter what good any person does, for some reason, we feel like it's never going to be enough. Now again, my only criticism of her is that she felt like she had to go and apologize and explain and da-da-da-da-da. She didn't have to do that. Because once again, people gonna be people. They're gonna think what they want to think, feel how they want to feel, do what they want to do, and say what they want to say. Because I'm pretty sure there are people who, after she put her apology out there, well, you still didn't do enough. How come you didn't pay all the bills? How come you didn't get, you didn't pay all the whole $10,000? Why da-da-da-da-da? Instead, instead of them being appreciative and saying, good, I'm glad somebody's doing something good, they instead caught a whole attitude with her. And so again, for me, my only thing that I criticize her about is the fact that she felt like, she needed to explain herself. Boo, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You really didn't owe anybody having to put it out there to begin with, but you did that because you wanted your followers, if they felt like helping, to help. And to bring awareness to his situation, because people otherwise might not have known. And so again, for me, it's not even so much about the fact that, that she posted anything outside of that apology that was unnecessary, but it's us and indicative of how mean we can still be, even when people are trying to do the right thing.
So I have one question. Is she considered a dummy? Because I'm still trying to figure out that one.
I told you she was this close to becoming it because she posted. That's the only like, again, because there's this idea out there, once again, that you feel like you have to explain yourself to people. You have to explain what you do. You have to show people what you're doing. Like, bruh, it is not that deep. Like, you ain't got to put it out there to begin with.
What do you mean?
There was no need for her to go out of her way to make the post to begin with if she already helped them meet that goal. However, she gonna do what she want to do. Just like Kim Kardashian did what she did, just like any other celebrity does what they do. Like, if you're gonna put it out there, keep in mind that people who do not like you or do not like celebrities, do not like rich folk, are gonna find something to say about what you did or what you didn't do or what they think you ought to do. And so for me, it's all about what are you posting for? And so again, it is what it is. But beyond that, it's not so much that I'm mad at her, because like we've said before, people are going to say what they want to say, feel how they want to feel, think what they want to think. So go ahead and do you.
So I have to disagree a little bit, because the only reason she posted, even though they met their goal, the only reason she posted is to let people know, especially her followers, people who follow her and who support her, may want to support him too. And so just because they met their goal doesn't mean that other people still won't give to help, with anything else. So I can see why she still posted it in the first place. I mean, because that's what we'll do, post it, even though it's met, people still will give. You know what I'm saying? And even though that was their goal, you never know what other expenses may come up and the extra may help. So I see why she posted. And then I also see why she posted the follow-up, because just like us, we have, an image that we want to, keep, or, we have a standard that we want to uphold, and we don't want that to be tarnished. And so the statement that she put out after, I can see why she put it out, because people are thinking this, but you need to let the truth out. Just like old boy and old girl did with everything that's happening on their side, as far, you want people, if people are going to talk, let them, they can lie all they want to, but you want the truth to be out there. You know what I'm saying? So I see why she posted that too. Just like us, if somebody says something about it, we're going to set the record straight. And when we set the record straight, that's it. It's done.
I mean, and that's why for me, it's like I said before, expect it. Just expect it, because there are people out there right now that even after she gave even after she did the initial post, she gave the explanation, she clapped back at them, and again,
yeah, people gonna think what they want to think.
They gonna think what they want to think.
But the truth is out there now.
Right, but yes. And the truth came from her own mouth. But if they really wanted to know the truth, even without her speaking it, all they had to do was go to the GoFundMe page. It's not like she gave anonymously.
Messy.
No, I mean, I know that, but again, and to that end, that's why again I'm not necessarily bashing her for doing what she did, because again, you're gonna do what you gotta do. You're gonna do what you feel like you have to do. And that's why for me, it's like, I'm not really as much mad at her. Like I said before, it is what it is. You posted, oh well. I'm really more so mad at us, because we can't get out of our own way to say good job to somebody for once. Because everybody thinks of all the Kardashians being these selfish, stuck up, live my life my way, don't care about nobody people. And truth be told, they got a little bit of that in them. But don't, girl, you took it out my mouth.
Oh, my bad.
Beautiful. No, thank you. Aren't we all? We all have a little bit of that streak in us, and because they're in the spotlight for everything they do, you know, we can't see them when they do good, or we don't believe it when someone like in their position does good, right? Because what's the ulterior motive? What are they really doing this for? We can't just see it for face value. There's always got to be some ulterior motive behind it. And truth be told, a lot of folk are like that with ulterior motives. But for once, can't we just say that's a cool thing that she did? You know, can't that be the story? Why does the story always have to go to, look at all the naysayers and everything that they said and all the clapback? No, why can't it be all the people who said, good job, proud of you, good work? No, it's always, but the naysayers said. We always bring the spotlight to all the naysayers as if they outnumber the good people that are saying stuff. And truth be told, they might not be. They might not be outnumbering the bad. Outnumbering the good. There may be a whole bunch of good, but we ain't gonna focus on that. It's Kylie Jenner, you selfish pig, or you're just all about money. That I think the original story said eat the rich, or whatever the case is. Like, I don't even know what that really means.
And then too, so you gotta think about this too. Y'all who are, I've said this before, the ones who are, bashing her and doing all that, y'all are still giving her what she needs.
Exactly.
I haven't.
That's what we said about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I haven't read all of the comments, but had anybody asked about the person who the GoFundMe was about?
No.
Like they
no, it ain't. Oh my gosh, nice. Yes,
like,
ain't nobody talking about Rhoda.
Is he okay?
Nobody's asking that question.
And she did not. She
didn't use her platform.
No, right. It was about him, and even in her later post, it was about him. I think she said that he's doing okay.
And the family said he's doing well. Yeah.
Like, people are still making it about her. And not once did she make it about herself. The only time she mentioned what she gave is when she had to clap back. Exactly.
And that's exactly why I'm more frustrated with the people.
Because you always say too, we never see the good that people do because people are always saying what they do. She didn't say what she did until she had to. Herself.
What did she do? Y'all pray for my friend. Right. She said, y'all go pray for my friend. The family's got a GoFundMe page up. Y'all can give if you want to. And not once did she tell them you have to give, or they whatever. She didn't tell them y'all got to go give this stuff. She brought awareness and put a spotlight on the fact that her friend got hurt. And nobody.
It's not even something she made a post of herself. She shared.
Right. Exactly. So she shared their post with, of course, her blurb on top of it, but it was still their post. And so again, that's again what frustrates me. And I didn't even think about that part. Like, we are so stuck on Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
If it was your mama, or if it was my grandma, or if it was your cousin or auntie, would nobody be saying anything? Because we ain't got the bread. But because she's, worth 222 million followers and billions of dollars, all of a sudden, why can't you pay for it? Hey, bruh, why can't you give $10? If we really gonna go there.
If you're really that hard up, why? Okay, don't give.
Just don't give, right?
Don't.
Here's an idea. Just take Kylie Jenner's post and share it to your friends, and see if one of them got something to give. It's all you gotta do. Instead of all this divisive, just like Quality Content said, all this divisive stuff, how dare you, you got all this money, rich, just getting richer, Instead, just saying, thank you for bringing awareness to something that we wouldn't have otherwise known. I got about $5. What we're always saying is so messed up that the people who need money can never get GoFundMe pages done for them half the time. Well, we're gonna get into that in a little bit about something good actually happening for once. But for the ones who get these GoFundMes like Gorilla Girl, can get the GoFundMes and things like that. I mean, she needed it, but I'm splitting hairs, right? So at any rate, that's why for me, again, it's not so much about her. I'm not mad at her. Like I said, it was a razor's edge. Because
I don't see how it was a razor's edge.
But again, just only because it seems like the Kardashians keep running into this problem where they post something, and again, I know it ain't even about her really. It's really just about the media catching these things and turning them into things that they're really not. And having to do this whole song and dance and explain themselves and all that kind of stuff. So in reality, I'm not. It's not her. It's not her that I'm mad at. It's because, again, you do what you do. Dummies. We're the dummies. Yeah, we're the ones on the razor's edge. Because, again, like, bruh, for what? What do you give? Why are you giving this life? Why are you giving this energy? Why are you giving this effort? We got other things to be worried about and dealing with other than,
Apparently not.
Apparently not. You got any questions or comments, fill out the comment box below and we'll try to get to them as best as we can. You're watching the Puzzle Podcast right here with Eddie Nicole on Instagram and Facebook Live. The real dummy of the week is coming out of Long Island, New York. White headmaster tells black boy 11 to kneel and apologize to teacher.
That's all you gotta say right there.
I ain't even gotta read no more, right?
He tells black boy to kneel.
No, let me read it now. Let me read it. You want to hear? I ain't give you a chance to read. I'm gonna let you read. Oh, you want to read? All right.
I don't want to read it because I put down why he tells black boy to kneel in front of teacher.
White headmaster at a Catholic school on Long Island.
I know, right?
Right. Yes, Niecy. Oh my goodness. School on Long Island was placed on temporary leave after reportedly telling a black student to kneel and apologize to a teacher, the boy's mother said. Trisha Paul, who is Haitian American, told the Daily News her son was disciplined on February 25th for working on the wrong class assignment. And after he was taken to the headmaster's office, was instructed to get on his knees and apologize because it was the, quote, African way. Paul phoned the headmaster, John Holland, days later to question him about the disciplinary practice used on her son, she told the paper. He later told her the kneeling practice was something he picked up from a Nigerian father of a former student, according to Paul. Quote, this father came in and said, quote, you're going to apologize to this teacher the African way, and you're going to get down on your knees and apologize. He allegedly told Paul.
That's all you gotta say.
Let me see. I'm going to just say this little part. Quote, my son was humiliated, hurt, and embarrassed, sad, and confused, she said. He reads about things happening because of your skin color. To experience it, he's just trying to process it in his 11-year-old brain. You got the floor.
I don't even know where to start. Yes, I agree. Should have been fired. Was he fired?
No, he wasn't fired.
Why were you not fired?
It's under review.
Review for what? Okay, I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, he has to apologize for not doing an assignment?
No, he has to apologize for doing the wrong assignment. So they had I got a curriculum, right? And the student didn't do the assignment for that week. He did the following weeks by mistake.
So you have to apologize for making a mistake instead of, being corrected.
And just doing the right assignment.
Doing the right assignment. Okay. And then you have to apologize the Nigerian, the African, Nigerian way. Mm-hmm. First of all, boo.
But before you continue, I want to know whether or not he told a non...
They let him resign?
I'm going to follow up and find out. You got to talk first.
You talking. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say this one thing. I'm letting you continue. Did they tell a non-person of color to kneel?
The same thing. That's what I want
in an apology. The African way. Go ahead.
Did you do that? And just because you see... You know what? Okay, so... don't be mad at me.
Go ahead.
I don't even know if I want to blame him like that. I feel like people need to be educated on what not to do and what to do in the school system as a teacher, first of all. Because that was their way. And
yeah, update, he resigned.
He resigned. Yes. He resigned. Okay. But you know, I don't even know how I feel about that. Because first of all, people need educators need to be taught what to do, what not to do, how to teach, how not to teach,
how to discipline,
and that falls into law with different amendments that students
She
have.
in class, y'all, so she done heard a whole bunch of stuff about something.
With different amendments that protect students about certain things.
Yep.
That was their way. You cannot force the way other people do things onto another child, another family, especially if you do not know.
Correct.
That's the first mistake.
Yes.
You probably weren't educated on that.
All you saw was the action. You don't know nothing about the culture. You don't know nothing about that. The father ain't sitting.
If you're gonna do that way, then you need to do the culture, the whole nine yards. Another thing, it was a mistake. What do I need to apologize to the teacher?
What do I need to
Wait. Why did you not contact the parent to let them know this? You know what I'm saying?
This kid comes home crying, distraught, disturbed, and Miss Paul is just like, "What's wrong with you?" And he had to explain. So you never called the parent to say, "Hey, he wrote down the wrong thing, get him to do an extra assignment or whatever."
Send a note
home. None of that. You made it. Go ahead.
When it's dealing with a child and assignments and different things like that, you cannot do something that the parent does not know about, because you looking to be in a whole bunch of trouble. It was not even that serious. It's not like, I don't even think the child has behavior problems or anything like that. Like, he made a mistake.
Right.
And the child who kneeled in front of another teacher, we don't know what that was about. That was probably something really serious and, needed to be addressed. But who addressed it? The darn daddy. Come on now.
Right.
You are not their daddy.
That. Right.
You are their teacher.
You are their principal.
Big difference. Children are supposed to come to school and, you're not supposed to just coddle them and, nurture them to the point where they can't do anything. But you are supposed to make them feel some sense of safeness and security where they are. Mm-hmm. Like, no child wants to come to school afraid. No child wants to be afraid to come to school because, they're thinking they're going to be humiliated, or they're thinking, okay, what did I do now? Okay, what's going to happen today? No child wants to feel like that. Let that have been, I'm not even going to say that, because I feel like that will, I'm not even going to say that either, because God forbid that ever happen and I end up in prison. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I give kudos to the mom, because I don't know what that conversation looked like, but in the interview she was just calm, cool, collect. She probably got it all out then.
Probably. And
probably was like real calm. Was like, okay, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. I'm gonna just do this, I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna see what happens. Like, who are you to tell my child to kneel? First of all, you know what you think about when you have a black person kneeling? Do you know what you think about as a black person?
Right now in freaking
with
2021,
everything that's going on. Like, you cannot do that, and I hate to take it there.
But that's where you go.
That is what you think.
That's what you think about.
Like, and I'm pretty sure, how old is this kid?
11.
He's 11. I'm
so he's about middle school.
He done seen some things. He done heard some things.
New York, no less. Shoot.
So when you have this child kneeling, and I'm guessing it was a Caucasian teacher in front of, like, you. So many things just go through your mind and your head, and as a mom, having to hear that.
Listen, Trisha Paul, if you're listening, girl, listen. You handled the class,
cool, collect,
because that whole school might have been burnt to the ground.
Like I would probably personally like question every teacher there. Like, do you know what this means? Are you supposed to do this? Are you supposed to do that? No, we need to get some courses in so that you know what you are not supposed to do and what you can do to discipline a child. Duh, you ain't supposed to hit a child. We know that. But you don't make a child kneel like... I have no more words.
Yeah, you do. So I'm gonna piggyback off of the one thing you said, because that's where my thought was. You decided that you were going to take a discipline that a parent did to their child and try to implement it on your own without knowing anything about the culture of that child or that father. And I know that because you had the audacity and the unmitigated gall to tell the parent, I learned he was getting disciplined the African way, which then tells me that you don't see culture. All you see is color. 1, 2, your ignorance is
way.
Right. Because listen, whether or not Miss Paul and her child are black is of no never mind in that regard. If you are doing this the Nigerian way, because apparently it came from a person who was from Nigerian descent, then the fact that they're Haitian tells you right there that it wasn't even about Africa. Because these folk that ain't even, that's not even their descent. Their descent is Haiti. And Haiti and Nigeria are 2 different countries. And Haiti ain't nowhere near Africa. So this was clearly motivated by race.
Did he even know what they were?
Whether he did or not is of no consequence at this point, because once again I asked the question, did you do this to a white kid? Is this same practice something that you did to a white kid? Because again, if we're going to culturally appropriate, right, and then you need to do it across the board. Every kid in your Catholic school needs to kneel to apologize. So here's another question I got, Catholic school. Where's Jesus in that?
Oh my gosh!
Where is Jesus in that? Because I promise you, boo-boo, Jesus ain't nowhere in that if you think that this was the appropriate thing for you to do in order to get a child to understand that he did something wrong. Even though what he did wrong was not even that deep. Like, he did the wrong assignment. Listen, if this child would have stolen something, broken a window, burned down a wing of the school, or, bullied some kids, or anything magnanimous, I might 10% understand. No, here, just let me, I would 10% understand, still get in your behind. But this dude, all he did was the wrong assignment. And you didn't even have the wherewithal to call the mom and to tell the mom, hey, he did the wrong assignment. We're going to have to, do something another. But, we just want to let you know. And that should have been the end of it. Let the mom handle that. Because, again, it wasn't... I'll take that one step further back. Let the teacher deal with that. Why did you have to step in? What was so bad about this little kid doing the wrong assignment where you, headmaster of the entire school, had to step in and take measures?
Like, are we missing something in the
There's got to be something missing, which we know there's not, but there's got to be something missing in his brain, because again, this was not that egregious. Now, if this kid has constantly been doing wrong assignments all willy-nilly, that still don't justify it at all. Mm-hmm. But again, even then, like, bruh, he was a wrong assignment.
You made him, I don't even know did you make him kneel in front of just the teacher or in front of people?
I bet you it was in front of people.
That is public humiliation.
That's public humiliation.
That is not right. That is not how you discipline in a school system. And I ain't gonna say what I was finna say because I was finna say something wrong. Hold up. Come back, Nikki.
Come back.
That is not how.
We don't transfer it over to.
Not even if this kid was that terrible. I'm not. You are not kneeling. That is not. You have to think. Teachers, educators, you have got to think about the world we're in And as hard as it is, you have got to think about these kids and what you're doing, how you discipline them, how you teach them, how you talk to them.
Because here's the thing, just like we just said with Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner and all that, these kids are rarely going to remember the positive things that happened in their lives. But those negative things that happened, they're going to remember that for life. This is not something he's going to easily get over. This kid is more likely going to need some therapy.
He has been humiliated by an adult. He has been humiliated by a person of power.
Yes.
And so now, just how some feel about police,
military,
all of that,
law enforcement.
This kid has been humiliated by a person in power, a leader. So how do you think he's looking at leaders now? If you got power, you're gonna abuse it.
Yeah.
How do you think he's looking at them? Like you have got to think about that, man. Like I don't care how old they are. Yeah, I deal with kindergarten, so there's a little bit more nurture there. But even as they get older, y'all, it's the way that you have to deal with them. I mean, like Marie is 10. It's like how you. Oh my gosh, every child is different.
Every child's different.
And so, as an educator, he's not even an educator. Hold up. You have to be like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's not flexible, but you have to be like this all around. You got to deal with everything.
You got to know what you can and cannot do. Period. It don't matter how. Just like Monica put me in my place, just like you were putting me in my place. There is no reason that the headmaster of the school should have been involved in a situation this simple. First off. Secondly, if you're going to be in this situation, if you're going to be a part of this situation, there was no reason that you should have instituted or utilized a punishment tactic that was not used by you, but was used by a father for his kid, and think that this was okay just because that kid was black.
But see, that goes back to educators need to be educated on a whole bunch of stuff, and race is part of it.
And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. But this, it didn't even need to go here. It didn't even need to rise to that level to where it needed to go to cultural differences and things like that.
Because been a note home. Hey, your child.
Yes, exactly. Because the parent, the first time it happened was the parent that brought this up. It wasn't the headmaster. The headmaster saw it and said, "Ooh, good idea." That's what that was. Like it wasn't about. It's not about the fact that the headmaster needs to have cultural diversity. No, the headmaster needs to know I don't have the authority to do this. Period.
Do I think they should already know what?
While she's writing that question up, like I said, the headmaster should have never even brought it up. It should have never gotten to that point where the headmaster felt like he had to do something like that. Because again, it was the father of the first kid that did that. Like, we're at the point where, do they think they already know the culture of diversity stuff because we're in 2021? I think is what she's saying.
I mean, that's partly in our education as we're getting it as educators.
Yeah,
like that's in there. I feel like if you don't, I feel like you should know the disciplinary actions to take in a classroom.
Period.
What to do.
Period.
What not to do. Period. Point blank.
And
the rights that students have in the school system, because look, y'all, I'm learning that now. And kids have some rights in the school system, like when it comes down to, all the way from, the race to religion. Like, they have rights. And so, like, I feel like as an educator, point blank, you need the disciplinary actions to take in a classroom are important.
Which include not doing something that you picked up from a parent. Because here's where the bridge is. Here's where the bridge is. The parents have the authority to discipline their children how they choose to discipline their children, provided that it's not abusive. Mind you, keep that in mind. You don't now, as an administrator, have the authority to pick that up as a tactic. That's not a part of your training.
Yeah.
That kneeling is not a part of your training. Ain't no school, no university, no Catholic school training is going to teach you in disciplinary tactics to make a child kneel. That didn't come from a disciplinary tactic and from your education. And so that's where he messed up. If we're bringing it training wise, that's where he messed up. He decided to add something to his repertoire that is in clear violation of any other university. What university gonna teach you to tell a kid to kneel in punishment? None. And like I said, now you getting your training from the manual of 1960. Maybe.
I feel like it should be taught, and I also feel like it should be
trained regularly.
It should be trained regularly, just like we have to have so many hours a year to keep our
and we do, they do, and so again,
do they though? Because they're private based, right?
I mean, private or public, whatever.
They get to choose.
I don't think so. But to that end, are they even paying attention? Because can we be honest? When we do our trainings at work, are we really paying attention to what they say? Are we really paying attention to the computer or just skip it to the end and taking the answer to the question? That's the problem. We ain't
But then, and I guess that's why it's a good thing that happened what happened, because those who are in leadership of that, you can't say that you weren't taught.
Exactly.
You can't say that you weren't there.
Exactly.
And so us as educators, and that's with any field, even with your field, like you can't say that you weren't taught, that you weren't told.
That's why I said it's beyond.
And if it's that boring, go do some more research for yourself.
That's why I said it ain't even about the training. At this point, it's about you had some racial biases in your system, and you saw an opportunity to level that out in some type of way.
Do you think he was just ignorant?
No, I think that he saw an opportunity to use something that he learned, and he mucked up.
And he probably thought he was going to get a pat on the back. Hey,
Exactly. You mucked up, sir. And I'm using muck because I want to say something else. Because, sir, no. And I'm glad he resigned. Because, sir, you don't deserve to be educated anywhere.
That's a big deal.
At this point. Like, for you to have done that, because, again, you had so many other different ways you could have handled that situation, and you chose this. Sir,
and again, where was Jesus in all this for this to be the type
Catholic
of school that it is? Okay. Jesus, because you can't do that in public schools, unless a child comes to you.
In what universe do we see Jesus telling some kid to kneel? In what universe? Even people who don't believe in Jesus know Jesus wouldn't do something like that. Come on now. Anyway.
That hurt. That just hurt me because
Go ahead.
Like,
get it.
So I'm doing Ancestry.com, right? And so I'm real psyched to find out about our family history, y'all, because let me tell you why he's looking for the next story. I don't know if y'all know the movie Loving, about the racial couple who couldn't be together because it was against the law at that time, the black woman and the white man. But finally in I think it was 1960s, they were finally a law was passed to where they could legally be married and it'd be fine. And so apparently my grandparents said that we fall down in that line. And so I guess when we talk about race, it kind of hits me a little. Great movie, yeah, it was a good movie. It kind of hits me a little bit harder because I see how blacks feel, but then I also see that not all Caucasians are bad.
What we've been saying it since day one.
And so it's like when people are saying these different things, I'm like, no, I don't look at race. I look at the person. Because a black can be just as racist. as a white. And so I guess I just see it differently, and sometimes I can't have these conversations with people because I see it in a different light.
Because you're literally on both sides. Remember what happened when Black Lives Matter picked up steam last year, and how I was torn because I worked for law enforcement, but I'm black at the same time. That's why, again, the conversations, we have to allow them to become a little more nuanced and with a little more subtlety than we allow them to be, and not be so polarized. But there are times like these where this white headmaster made a black boy kneel, that you get just really incensed because because we see the racial disparities and we see everything else in between. And so that's why for me it's not just about every situation being black or every situation what?
Nothing.
You're gonna have to tell me what you're laughing about later.
Okay.
Every situation being white, but it's also about, every situation being put on its face and saying, what's wrong in this situation? And why is this situation the way that it is? I don't like how we polarize every situation to be about Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, and on and on and on. Again, there are situations where that's exactly what it is, but we got to take every situation for what it is. And make sure that we're not pushing it in that direction or giving it the lens. Because just like you said, with you not seeing it as a race thing all the time, that comes from the gospel. The gospel gives us a different lens through which we see everything. We don't see things as a race problem. We see it as a sin problem in which it's manifesting itself into race. Yeah. And I ain't gonna try to preach too hard, but that's where a lot of our stuff comes from. It's like we see the lens, we see everything through the lens of the gospel, and then we act accordingly. But again, it takes being able to really come to terms with some of your own personal demons and not making everything about what you want it to be or what when you see it, what it's turning out to be. But again, that's a whole nother can of worms for another day, and we'll end up being on here for 2 hours if we really go that far. And even Quality Content said critical thinking is lacking everywhere. We must do better. Exactly. So I'm trying not to go there, but again, that's basically what it's boiling down to. We'll be here 9 o'clock tomorrow. If you want to hear, some deep gospel stuff on tomorrow, we're also available on Thursdays at 6:30. Until May. May, right. All right. If you have any questions or comments, fill out the comment box below. We'll try to get to them as fast as we can. We do thank Darissa, who gave us a lot of comments, saying this is a very extreme reaction to the teacher that the teacher themselves going to handle that with empathy instead of force and humiliation. That was probably made at Kaepernick for kneeling. Yeah. Simply put your child in a child's place. If you don't want your child to endure that, don't do it to someone else's child. Golden rule. Amen to every last one. Our next story is coming from Yahoo Life. Barack Obama says pop culture teaches boys to, quote, excel in sports and sexual conquest. Barack Obama is the 44th president of the United States, but he's also a girl dad with his own perspective on toxic masculinity, as he shares an upcoming episode of Renegades Born in the USA, his podcast with Bruce Springsteen. I'm going to let you read the rest of it.
All of it?
As much or as little as you feel like needs to be said.
The former POTUS wife to Michelle Obama and father to Sasha, 19, and Malia, 22, 19, 20, 22. Those our girls are like the exact age difference apart.
Told you we were the Obamas on the side.
Sharing sound bites from conversations
Obamas.
He's had with friends of his daughters, specifically about how masculinity is encouraged in society. His big takeaway: unfortunately, not much has changed since he was growing up. I talk to my daughter's friends about boys growing up, and so much of popular culture tells them that the only clear defining thing about being a man, being masculine, is you excel in sports and sexual conquest. Yep. He said, and violence, right? Those are the three things in violence. If it's healthy, at least it's assumed into sports. Subsumed into sports. He said later you add to that definition making money, how much money you can make. Let's see. in his clip with Springsteen, is that how you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Obama did list some positive attributes of the traditional American man, most notably the sense of responsibility, meaning making sacrifices for family or future generations. Handling your business, he said, but he added much needs to evolve, and that is very true. This is not the first time the president has gone on the record about manhood. At an event with the basketball player Steph Curry in 2019, the former president said, being a man is first and foremost being a good human. That's true. And that means being responsible, being reliable, working hard, being kind, respectful, compassionate. Isn't that what old boy said to Titus?
Mm-hmm.
The notion that somehow defining yourself as a man is dependent on, are you able to put somebody else down instead of lifting them up? Are you able to dominate as opposed to support? That is an old view. Barack told Springsteen there was never a full reckoning of who our dads were, what they had in them, how we have to understand that and talk about that, what lessons we should learn from it, all that kind of got buried. I think this is going to be kind of cool to talk about because we have different situations as far as father figures, our dads being there.
Yeah, I mean, so you really just got to go back and listen to everything that they said because that just
on
really
the podcast.
On the podcast.
The podcast was awesome.
Oh my gosh! Like you talking about, it was so on this article just scratches the surface. I mean, I should have listened to it like 10 more times just to really get in the depths of what they really were talking about because they really got really deep about how their fathers were there but not there.
I think the main thing to grasp from that podcast was that that influence that a male figure can have in a person's life, with positive or negative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Their presence or their absence can have a positive.
His brothers, when he met his siblings, like they told them their experience about them growing up with him.
Mm-hmm. They did, and so I think for me, like listening to Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen talk about the dads in their lives, it made me think a lot about, the how difficult, well, I'm not going to say how difficult it was for me to grow up without a father figure in my life. There were a lot of men in my life, but I didn't really consider any of them a father figure, but except for my mom's current husband. And I'm talking uncles, talking grandparents, talking, the whole 9 yards, because I learned basically how to exist on my own. It really wasn't until Marie came into the picture that I really started thinking about what not having a father figure in my life throughout my life, how it impacted me. Remember the movie we were watching, 1,000 Words, with Eddie Murphy, and that was what he had. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm about to ruin it for you because basically the end is, the moment where I basically broke down and cried for like 15 minutes. He didn't have a father in his life, and what the final words he used in his 1,000 words that he had was, "I forgive you," his father for not being there for him. And that made me choke up because I'm like, my dad wasn't really there for me, and I wondered why, why wasn't he there? Why doesn't he care? I have jokes about some of the things that my dad, or that my biological father did or said that kind of, made me feel a certain type of way about certain things. And so, but that's neither here nor there. The main thing that I really got out of what Obama was saying was that when we don't have male figures in our lives to, be there for us as a positive influence in our lives, we look to other people. And so I can let me take this and expand it even further. When we don't have people in our lives to push us in positive directions, or we don't allow those people the space in our lives to push us in the right directions, we will look toward and seek figures that we can emulate. And so Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen were saying that that's what they did. They emulated who they saw in their lives. TV. And they saw the TV, the media, sports. And all three of those were basically influencing, you gotta get money, you gotta have a job, you gotta get women, and you gotta be sexually active. That's how you prove yourself to be a man. And for a long, and there was also a part in there about smoking drugs too. And so the vast majority of their lives, that's what they did. And Bruce Springsteen even said that it wasn't until he hit 30, which kind of reminds me of my story. He did not until he hit 30 that they started thinking about, what does it mean to be a man for me? You know, it wasn't what does it mean to be a man. It was what does it mean to be a man for me, and how do I define who I want to be as a man? And it sucks in what they were saying because it didn't happen until later. They didn't have these conversations when they were younger, but they didn't have them because they didn't have anybody to have these conversations with.
And I mean, as a teenager, you're not going to be trying to think to yourself, ooh, I need to have a conversation about how to be a good man. No.
You know what? No. But I do remember having a conversation with one of my friends about it, though. So it's not like we're not thinking about it. We just don't know how, if we're not in a space where we feel comfortable enough to have those conversations.
That's what I'm saying. What can you tell each other if both of you don't know?
That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And so we didn't feel comfortable going to our parents and asking them, what does it mean to be a man? You know, so we're asking ourselves, and we're like, I don't know. So that's exactly, you hit it on the head. That's exactly how that conversation, I will say this though. My friend told me something that stuck with me because I was telling him that I was angry at my first stepfather. I was angry at him and I hated him and I didn't want to be like him. And he told me, don't grow up to be like him then. And I was like, boom, alright, mission accepted. And I moved forward with that. But again, outside of that, we knew not to be like that, but we didn't know what to be.
Yeah. So, I think it's really important, and I know every child doesn't have this, every child's situation is different, and that kind of hurts my heart, especially when you see it, in the schools, because those who are in foster care, because they had to be taken out for safety reasons or other reasons. I feel like it's important for every child, and I know it's not possible to have some type of positive influence in their life. That's why when I go to work, I try my hardest to make sure that when they step into my presence, like, that you're safe here. Like, that you can talk to me. That I'm not going to hurt you. Like, that I'm not there to harm you, but I'm there to help you. Like, it's important for that positive role model, that positive influence to be in a child's life, because if it's not, then they grow up doing what they see in the world, doing what they hear in the music, acting out what they see in movies, because that's all you have. And that's I think that's a scary place to be in, first of all.
And that's part of the reason why you saw a lot of the soccer moms getting upset with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion when they were up on the Grammys doing what they did. But now keeping in mind that both of them have said, I'm not trying to be a role model to kids, so please stop trying to push me to be one. I'm not making music for them.
Like, they're going to see these things. They're going to see these things, right? They're going to see these things. So teach them the right thing. Teach them the right way. Yeah, they have it. They're flaunting it. But that's not what you need to do. Right.
Right.
That's what they want to do.
Right.
That's not what you need. Teach your child how teach your child the right thing.
But again, just also keep in mind that that's why right. But that's why we also do what we do. We teach. We recognize our kids are going to be exposed to this stuff. We can't stop them from being exposed. We can't put them in a bubble. If we put them in a bubble, they're never going to learn anything. So we can't just isolate them from everything that's out there in the world. We can only try to teach them. Hey, this is the way that you should go. This is the way that we're trying to guide you, and hope that that you grow up in that way. And I imagine when you get grown and do what you do,
then that's
on you. You know,
like Cardi B and all of them.
They made their choices.
You still have
the
authority
choice
over your child to raise them in a way that you see is best.
And we can only hope
that you need to,
don't force them to do one thing or another,
but lead them to
and just hope that we can be the better role models that maybe we didn't have, because I know that's what it is for me. You know, I vowed to.
What did that do?
I vowed to to not have my kids grow up in the same environment that I grew up in. That's what I wanted. I didn't want them.
I didn't want my children to feel a certain way about themselves because of what others said. And that's why I'm trying not to get emotional. That's why when our youngest was doing what she was doing about, all of that, her weight and all of that, I was like,
let's get this. I
feel like I almost cried.
When
that happened. I think Eddie was like,
let's get this.
Talking, but don't change who you are just because
somebody else is trying to influence. Because what we just said, all it takes is one negative experience to completely transform. And it takes, somebody said it like this, and it's not an exact science, but for every negative experience you have in this life, you're going to need 10 positive experiences to undo the damage of the negative experience. That's life. And it sucks that that's the way it is, but we see it in all of life. That for every negative thing that happens, like what's happening right now in Georgia with voter suppression, it's going to take 10 acts of Congress, literally, in order to undo that mess. And so again, that's life. But we can only hope that we can be the role models that our kids, are looking to be. That we can find role models that we listen to, that we emulate, that we, strive to be like. Not trying to say that we want to be them, but because we want to be like Jesus.
Character.
But character, and that's what we're trying to, give them, and we want to be that for our children. Knowing what we know, dealing with what we've dealt with, try to give them that same experience. Because again, we don't want to take the deficiencies that we grew up with and bring our children in that. No, I'm not gonna give you what I had. I want to give you better than what I had. And pray that I don't end up giving you less of something in favor of what I'm trying to give you because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
That you get the balance, and like I say, you get grown, do what you want to do. We're going to pray for you. Might knock you upside the head a couple times, but we're going to be there for you. But at least while you're growing up, you have the influences in your life to know that this is the way that you ought to go. If you have any further comments, fill out the comment box below. We'll try to get to them as fast as we can. Ms. Darissa said, blame CBS, not the artist. Yeah, we said that last week. About Cardi B and Meg. But yes, most definitely blame them. But again, they were trying to get them ratings up, man, because nobody was watching. Nobody watched. So, it is what it is. But again, you're watching the Puzzle Podcast with Eddie and Nicole, and you got our final story for the night.
All right, last story of the night, you guys. And this touched my heart because we talked about, students and all that kind of stuff. So, seeing a beloved substitute teacher living in his car inspired a former student to step up and help a man who had made a difference in his life. The help came in the form of a check for $27,000, money that former student Stephen Nava helped raise through a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe
Do it one more time.
GoFundMe campaign last week. It was money that the former substitute teacher, Jose, said he never expected. From the bottom of my heart, I just had to resort to all of my self-control not to become sentimental about the whole thing and not become nervous, okay? Mr. V, as his students call him, turned 77 on March 11th. Nava 21 years old, you guys, presented the check to Mr. V on his birthday. I'm sorry. A surprise party with other former students who came to celebrate. At that time, he had been struggling. He has lived in his car for the past 8 years while working as a substitute teacher for Los Angeles school district. When the pandemic started, all his classes went to remote learning, so the need for substitute teachers went away, and I guess that's how that started. He made the decision years ago to live in his car because he was sending most of his income to his wife, children, and extended family in Mexico. Early this month, he was getting ready for his job as a welder and heading toward work around 5 a.m. He noticed a man in a parking lot of the nearby senior center going through the trunk of his car. The other day I was just thinking, wait, I think that's my substitute teacher, he said, eventually realizing it was, which inspired him to do what he did. And I think that's just real cool, and I think that is awesome because this man is 77 and made the choice to live in his car, not because he didn't have the money, because he was wanting to support his wife. I mean, was it his wife? Yeah, his wife and his child who was in a different place. And so I feel like that's just awesome. Like that is the gospel. That is, you know, the Christian family at work. Like, I don't know if they're Christians, you know, I'm not even gonna say that. But that is
right. Go ahead.
That is the character that's one of the characteristics of Christ.
Which is exactly what Kylie Jenner was exhibiting.
It was. And so, I mean, there's a story. There's so much bad going on in the world today, but I mean, there's something.
There's a whole lot of good. A whole lot of good.
We just don't catch it, or it's just not filmed, or it's just, you know,
put on page 6,
or it's just made about something else, like Kylie Jenner, and not about the what
situation
it's really for.
itself. Exactly. No, and that's why I love it. I love that, you know, here it is once again. I see a need. Let me meet the need. You know, again, if you're not going, if you can't see it, go be it. I've said it so many times before, because at the end of the day, man, like, there's so much good that can be done that can undo a lot of the stuff that we see. Yes, politicians are going to be politicians. Leaders are going to be leaders. You know, our governors are going to be governors, the dummies that they are. But at the end of the day, we the people can still do a whole lot of good, even in the midst of all this stuff that's going on in this world. You know, again, I'm just saying, like, you know, listen, at the end of the day, you know, people gonna be people, politicians gonna be politicians, leaders gonna be leaders, presidents gonna be presidents. Like, they gonna do what they do, like the dummies that they are, trying to save face, trying to stay off the headlines and everything else in between. While we, the people, can still do a whole lot of good in this world, even if no one ever catches it. So if you can't see the good and you're wondering why nothing's happening, or this, that, and the third ain't going right, go out there and do something. Exactly. You know, go out there and be the change, be the difference. No one has to know what you're doing. You ain't got to put your head in the lights or whatever, but use your platform, use your influence, use your resources. You make a GoFundMe page, man, and go help somebody do something. You might not raise $2 million like one of the other people that we had a story on did, you know, but you might raise the $27,000 and be able to get somebody something. You might raise $1,000 and get somebody something. It doesn't. Right, exactly. So again, you know, you guys, if you can't see the good, be the good, and continue to just realize that there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world that's a whole lot more than what you see in the headlines every day. You just got to be willing to dig a little bit deeper and look. Yeah. So I'm glad he got $27,000. Let me tell you what he gonna do though with it. He gonna sit at home and go still live in his car. I feel like that's what he's gonna do. I
hope that he.
I feel like that's what he's gonna do.
I hope that he tries to get his family with him. I hope that he tries to bring his family.
I would love that.
Like, and bring your family. That. Make sure you have a place set up first, because you are still working. But bring your family with you so that you don't have to send that money away, but you can use it for all of you. Exactly.
One once preached in so many words, saying, plant the seed, that's all you have to do, and God will water it and multiply it. And if you are able to see that seed grow, to God be the glory.
Yes.
The system has so many flaws and great teachers and few and far apart, but this man, the teacher, planted the seed of hope and inspiration in this young man that was able to
Come on with it. Come on, somebody.
That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. And so again, listen, just if you can't see the good, go be the good. Because you just never know who you're going to inspire, who you're going to influence, man. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for taking the time to spend a little time with us here on the Puzzle Podcast. If you are a puzzle company of any kind, whether you sell puzzles, you sell tools, you sell equipment, whatever the case is, you would like some of your products featured here on the podcast, hit us up in the DMs and, see what we can do about, letting your products be, get a little bit of light here in our podcast. We are going to be switching over to Friday nights at 8 p.m. Starting next week. And so we are thankful to everyone who's been hanging out with us here on Saturday nights. We hope that you continue to hang out with us. But as always, we understand work gets in the way, if your boo gets in the way, everything else in between. So you guys do what you feel like, you do what you have to do. But you can always come back and watch the replays. And you can find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google. We're trying to get to Amazon. We're going to try to get to YouTube as well. So that way you can always catch up at any time on any of our podcasts. So again, if you can't catch us live, you can always catch us on the replay. And so we thank you guys for your love, for your support, for your commitment. And if you guys have any stories that y'all know about that you want us to talk about, feel free to hit us up in those DMs, send us a link and we may read it. You may see a story that you see in the news and that we end up talking about. Again, we love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your night and weekend. And we will see y'all on the next episode of the Puzzle Podcast with Eddie and Nicole right here on Instagram and Facebook Live. Y'all have a good one.